I recently took a trip to El Salvador and I did a live video on my Instagram about the benefits that I experienced there. But I wanted to do a longer YouTube video on full detail on the benefits I experienced. There were actually a few ones that I forgot about in the YouTube video, and I wanted to talk about my current environment here at home so you can kind of understand the comparison. Now, the reason why I went to El Salvador was multifactorial and not entirely related to health or healing, but it's a really great place for healing and health for very specific reasons. And I experienced many interesting and intriguing benefits when I was there. First, though, I want to talk about my environment and how many things I've done to improve my environment and how that's impacted my health. So when I got into the circadian rhythm space and started learning about quantum biology, light, water, magnetism, all of these things that affect us, I changed my whole house around. So my house is outfitted with circadian friendly lighting. It's supposed to be getting insanely windy here, and I feel like I'm just starting to see that. So I have incandescent lights everywhere in my house for daytime. And most of the time, honestly, I don't even need to turn on the lights. I am lucky that I have it fairly bright, and I always keep a window cracked open to get the full spectrum of light through the glass, or I should say, on the side of the glass. And I have a Ethernet, power over Ethernet system at home for my computer, and whenever possible, my phone. And I 99% of the time have Wi-Fi shut off. I am in Ontario in Canada, so latitude, I'm quite high away from the equator. Sun's poor most of the year. We do have cold though. I am in a neighborhood that is fairly well insulated. Towers are probably further away than most areas, cell phone towers. So my environment isn't horrible. It's come a long way. I do have a smart meter. Unfortunately, where I live, they are mandatory. If I try to do anything with it, I will have power cut off. Another reason to move. But anyways, for the moment, that is the situation. Temporary situation. So back to my trip to El Salvador. So El Salvador is radically different because it's 13 latitude north, which means it's very close to the equator, and the sun is way, way, way stronger. That also, it's in the ring of fire. So tons of active volcanoes, which means the magnetic field is high. It's way higher. And I'm talking about a natural magnetic field. It's way, way, way higher than, here in Canada for sure. And where I stayed, the house was heavily controlled. So everything was grounded, way better than my house. You could ground on every surface, on the porch, the patio. We spent 90% of our time outside because what the hell, it's hot and beautiful every day. Pretty much. Actually, it only ever rained at night when I was there. Torrential rain, but at night only. And so every surface is grounded, every outlet is grounded. Everything is mitigated for, everything's Ethernet cables. Nobody uses their data on the property. And then the beach was right there, was black sand, lots of waves. You get that effect of the splashing water, which has a benefit, and that I don't remember what it's called. There's a term for it in physics. When I find it, I'll add it to the description below. And as soon as I landed off the plane, I took a red eye. So my flight landed at 4:55 a.m. their time. And I was, of course, pretty tired because sleeping on the plane for some reason didn't work out that well for me that night. I didn't sleep very well. And when I landed and I got there, I landed just after sunrise. Saw the sunrise on my drive to the place that I was staying, and my hair stopped falling, completely. A little bit about hair falling out is a difficult thing to address permanently when you're not just trying to band-aid or dope systems, because hair is not super essential. So it's one of the last things to improve. Your body would rather improve your heart, your intestines, your liver, your mitochondria, your brain. There's so many areas of your body that your that your body's like, oh, well, excuse me, I'm not going to put resources to making better hair. I have more important things to do. And I've had many significant problems in my life, in my health, like insomnia and endometriosis, which is a big problem, restless legs. So again, not the priority. I've come a very, very long way, but I'm not all the way there. And a lot of that is due to my environment being suboptimal. And so, there's going to be things that I struggle with unless my environment is perfectly curated, and it's not. And it doesn't need to be perfect. Like, everything I've done is night and day already, right? So anyways, my hair stopped falling out completely when I was there, which was a really big surprise. Like, I didn't lose a single hair. And my hair, like, I have people like, yeah, you have nice hair. Okay, yeah, sure, I agree. But when I was there, it was like full of life. It's like it came to life automatically. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Which was super cool. And the only time I lost a little bit of hair was when I went to San Salvador to buy groceries. And, a lot of the major stores that I went to are in the direct vicinity of cell towers. So while they have less cell towers than we do, they have less artificial light, just being lower population, not as advanced when it comes to cell technology, whatever. But they're still right there. So I'm still swimming in them. And, my hair responded immediately. But when I went back into the area that I was staying, which is very isolated, very shielded, then it went back down again. And also, when I first got there, I would get winded. So there's these massive long flight of steps to go down to the beach from where I was staying. It's a walk. You like go down, 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 and down, 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 down. And when I would climb up those steps because of the heat, I would get winded. I felt like I was losing electrolytes. I did not bring electrolytes. I didn't take electrolyte powder. And within a couple of days of being all day at the beach, grounded in the sun, sunrise, like, being in that great environment, I no longer got winded. I was able to run up and down in the heat, like super hot. Lots of people complain that it's too hot at the beach there if they're used to northern latitudes like where I live. But I adapted. And usually I need magnesium. I supplement with certain things because of my suboptimal environment. So yes, I'm technically doping my body. And when I dope it with magnesium in the morning, magnesium in the evening, it does a few things. I'm able to tolerate my small decaf mixed with a tiny bit of caffeine espresso in the morning without an issue. And I cut any cravings that I tend to have in the middle of the night occasionally if my exposure and rhythms or routine that day was suboptimal. And so I have magnesium orotate in the morning and magnesium malate at night. And I didn't bring any of those, and I never needed them. I never had any cravings. Not only that, but I have experimented extensively with changing meal times because I still have 5 pounds to lose. Also, I can indulge. But anyways, I have experimented with like stopping dinner at 2-3 p.m. But it backfired massively because then I couldn't fall asleep properly, or I would fall asleep and then wake up starving at like midnight or 1 a.m. or something like that. And it was just terrible. And so I went back to pushing out to dinner to like 4:30, 5:30 p.m. and everything just magically disappeared and no problem. But in El Salvador, I could actually skip dinner entirely without an issue. Some days I wasn't hungry for dinner and I just didn't have it. And sometimes I had it at 2-3 p.m. And yeah, sometimes we all sat down to have dinner together and it was a little later. The other thing is my sleep was way deeper, and I know this because I didn't struggle to wake up at all. I go through phases where I can be strict enough with my clocks, my circadian rhythm, that I'm waking up without an alarm clock in the morning. But lately, since I've been dealing with grief and loss and all of these things, that's been a little disrupted. So I haven't been able to wake up before my alarm clock since the beginning, since January, February, whatever, of this year. But there I was, every morning I was up before my alarm clock feeling amazing. And I went to bed so early too because it's pitch black. Once the sun sets, say 6:50 or something like that, like that's it, it's dark. You can watch the storm a little bit. There's a few houses where you can see some lights, but compared to here, where the light pollution is massive, the light pollution is much reduced. So that was another benefit that I believe impacted my sleep. The other thing is my tolerance for carbohydrates. So I eat seasonally. And that means here in Canada, I don't eat a lot of carbs. And when I do eat a lot of carbs, or if I indulge, I feel a quick high almost from it, like a sugar high and a sugar crash if I'm irresponsible. But even if I'm responsible about it, or I'm picking foods that are pretty good, pretty local, I will get like this, I want to say, I call it insulin taste. I never got that. Even when I indulged in like plantain egg pancakes that I made for myself and wanted to just, I don't know, not eat properly one meal, I didn't actually have any effects of blood sugar at all whatsoever. And that can happen over here if I decide to be naughty, go off script, and eat something that's really not ideal for me to eat. The other thing is I use my red light panel on a daily basis to make more hormones, and have in the past taken bioidentical hormones. I didn't need to do any of that over there. The sun is very strong. The sun was strong enough to compensate for that, way stronger than my light panel. And that was also very, very, very nice. And I will see the full effects of that when I get my next period. That will be an interesting thing. And my skin. My skin was so happy there. Even my hands. I wash dishes by hand, but I didn't have any issues with my hands. Usually I have to wear gloves, or my hands will get like so cracked from the soap. And the soap there, it's not like it was ultra natural soap at all. So it was something else. It was something in the air. Normally, I don't really put moisturizer on my skin at all, but my lips get super dry. They were never dry over there, except for when I was on the plane, and that completely evaporated without me actually putting anything on my lips when I got there and for the whole time that I was there. The sun definitely cut any pleasure cravings that I have, I want to say, because I will sometimes try to replace pleasure that I have had in my life in other ways through food. I guess a coping mechanism when it comes to grieving. But over there, the sun was very, very strong, and it really cut every single craving I could possibly have and reduced my hunger significantly, because it's not like I'm ultra skinny where I need, like, my body has things that it could use. So it's not like it unhealthily reduced my metabolism. It actually reduced my appetite in a very healthy way, because I was getting alpha MSH from the sun. It influences GLP-1 signaling, all of these things that influence appetite, digestion, and fat burning. So that was also something that was very interesting. If you want to get amazing benefits from your vacation, I would highly recommend that you pick somewhere close to the equator with active volcanoes, and in a place where you can get darkness at night. Be outside all the time near the ocean is amazing, because then you get the benefits of water being a Faraday cage, which I will discuss another time, and grounding on the beach, which grounding is already very effective in the tropics, but even more so at the shore, where the water of the ocean comes into the sand. When your feet are there, or you're grounding on the sand in the water, that's amazing. And then the spray effect of any waterfalls or splashing of the waves, big waves, those are all amazing things to look for. But I think the most important would be the UV index, or the quantum yield from the sun, so the closest you are to the equator, and the magnetic field. So the more active volcanoes in the area, the closer you are to an active or semi-active volcano, the better it is. And you will be impressed by the results, unless, of course, you marinate in your phone the whole time you're on vacation, wear sunscreen, sunglasses, and block your body from absorbing all the beauty of the sun. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to hit subscribe to stay up to date for my next video.